Everything people do, they do for a reason, but there are only 6 real reasons behind human behavior, 6 core needs we are always trying to meet. The first need is certainty. We do a massive amount of what we do just to feel safe, secure, and in control. When someone feels uncertain about their future, their health, their relationships, their freedom, their mind goes into survival mode. They start imagining worst case scenarios. They replay the past. They selectively remember painful moments. They distort reality, delete the good, and amplify fear. What's interesting is this: people often crave certainty, yet they keep producing more uncertainty by what they focus on, how they move their body, the pictures they create in their head, and the emotional state they put themselves in. Certainty is a basic human need, and when it's missing, nothing else feels stable. But here's the paradox. If you had total certainty all the time, at first it would feel amazing, and then you'd be bored out of your mind. That's why the second human need exists: uncertainty or variety. We need change. We need surprise. We need challenge. Variety is what makes us feel alive. It's the spice of life. Too much certainty creates boredom. Too much uncertainty creates fear. So the goal is not to live in the middle, it's to be able to produce both. You want certainty and uncertainty in the same experience. That's why people rewatch movies they've already seen. They're certain it's good, but enough time has passed that there's still variety. The third human need is significance, the need to feel unique, special, important. Every single human being has this need. The difference is not whether we have it, but how high it ranks. The top 2 needs you value most will determine the direction of your life. If significance ranks higher than love, you'll struggle in relationships because you'll constantly try to prove you're right, superior, or more important. And most people don't realize these patterns are shaping their entire life because the most powerful forces are invisible. Think about it. Gravity is invisible. Without it, you die. Too much of it, you're crushed. Radiation, too little, you die. Too much, you die. Life is about balance. The most powerful invisible forces in your life are your beliefs and values. They control every thought, every emotion, every decision. And what they ultimately create is what you call your life. Because life is not about what you have. You can have everything and still feel empty. The quality of your life is the quality of your consistent emotions. And if there's one goal here, it's this: create a new set of consistent emotions, the ones you truly want, regardless of what happens. So no matter what life throws at you, you can take it and extract the greatest meaning, the greatest growth, the greatest power from it. Because when you change your need structure, you change your life. You can squeeze the greatest value out of any experience, but your need structure will always determine how you do it. And I'm bringing this up because within seconds of someone speaking, if you're really listening, they are revealing their needs. They are telling you what drives them. Some of you have your needs organized in a way that makes it incredibly difficult for you to win. Not because you're incapable, but because your internal priorities are working against you. We talked about significance, the need to feel unique, special, important. But what's the fourth human need? It's love and connection. Now notice something important. Certainty and uncertainty appear to be opposites. Significance and love also appear to pull against each other. If you chase certainty alone, life feels safe but dead. If you chase uncertainty alone, life feels exciting but unstable. The goal is not to live lukewarm in the middle. The goal is to learn how to create certainty when you need it and use uncertainty to feel alive. The same is true with significance and love. People finally feel strong, unique, confident, and then they say, but something's missing. I don't feel connected. Others fall deeply in love, totally merge with another person, and after a while they say, but what about me? Where did my significance go? This push-pull between needs is what creates inner conflict for most people. And if you don't understand it, it will quietly control your life. And by the way, connection and love are not the same thing. Connection is crumbs compared to love. Most people settle for connection because love feels too risky. They loved deeply once, it ended painfully, and they decided never to feel that again. So they settle for crumbs. And the truth is, connection is easy to find. You can connect with a pet. If nothing else works, get a dog. Don't get a cat, they'll leave. You leave the room for 2 minutes, a dog acts like you were gone for 6 months. Pure devotion. You can connect through prayer. You can connect in nature. You can connect through friendships. There are countless ways to create connection. These first 4 needs, certainty, uncertainty, significance, and love or connection, are basic human needs. Every human being finds a way to meet them, even if they have to lie to themselves, which most people do. But the ultimate problem is this: most people never meet the spiritual needs. That's why most people are unhappy. The 5th human need is growth. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. Growth is progress. And progress is what makes you feel alive. It's not even achieving the goal that fulfills you, it's moving toward it. It's becoming more than you were yesterday. And when you grow, you now have something to give. That leads to the 6th human need, contribution. As long as life is just about me, you can only feel so much. That's why whenever something amazing happens in your life, the first thing you want to do is share it with someone. Because sharing magnifies it. You can only feel so much alone. That's why we have relationships. That's why we have families, friendships, communities. Now, out of these 6 needs, most people specialize in 2. The top 2 needs you value most shape your behavior, your reactions, and your destiny. If someone values certainty highly and you try to change plans, they freak out. You're late, they're upset. Things aren't predictable, they're uncomfortable. Someone who values variety wants to jump out of an airplane. Someone who values certainty says, you can go to hell. Same world, different needs, different lives. Someone who is significance-driven wants what everyone wants, but when significance becomes number 1, when it's more important than certainty, more important than love, more important than growth or contribution, it creates real problems. Because the only way you know something is significant is by comparing it to something else. And the biggest mistake we make as human beings is that we compare ourselves unfairly. We compare our real life to someone else's highlight reel. We compare ourselves at one stage of life to someone at a completely different stage. Different skills, different focus, different level of development. And then we distort, delete, and generalize how amazing their life is compared to ours. That's why so many people, especially young women, get depressed when they go online. They're comparing themselves to something that isn't real. Filters, angles, curated moments, a fake world designed to look perfect. And then they look at themselves and say, I'm not enough. It's even more intense for girls because culture adds the physical comparison, telling them what's attractive, what's acceptable, what's worthy. Here's the key. If I listen to you talk long enough, I already know what your problems are, and I already know what your opportunities are, because once I know your top needs, I know the direction you're moving, and direction determines destination. Keep moving in one direction long enough, and you will reach a destiny. If I'm driven by certainty, I'll move one way. If I'm driven by uncertainty, I'll move another. If I'm driven by significance, I'll act one way. If I'm driven by love, I'll act another. Whatever sits at the top of your list has been quietly controlling your life. Now, here's something most people don't understand. 2 people can have the same needs, but they have different rules for meeting them. A rule is simply a belief about what has to happen for me to feel successful, loved, respected, or enough. You're going to discover that not only do you have needs, but you've built a system to meet them. Think of it this way. The target is the need you're trying to fulfill. The arrow is your action. And what guides the arrow is your values. Your values determine how you aim. They decide what you go after and what you ignore. If freedom is one of your highest values, you pursue it because you believe it will meet your needs. If security is your top value, you organize your life around stability. And here's the most important insight of all. If you change the order of your needs, or you change the values guiding them, it completely changes how your brain experiences life. same world, same circumstances, completely different reality. At the end of the day, your life is not being shaped by your intentions. It's being shaped by your needs, your beliefs, and the order you've placed them in. Most people never choose that order consciously. They inherit it, they absorb it, they repeat it, and then they wonder why they keep getting the same results. When you understand the 6 human needs, you take back control. You stop judging yourself. You stop judging others. You realize people aren't broken, they're just meeting their needs in ineffective ways. The moment you shift which needs matter most, everything changes. Your focus changes. Your decisions change, your emotions change. Remember this, certainty keeps you alive. Uncertainty makes you feel alive. Significance gives you identity. Love gives you meaning. Growth gives you vitality. Contribution gives you fulfillment. A beautiful life is not about eliminating any of these, it's about mastering them. If you want lasting happiness, don't chase comfort, chase growth. If you want deep fulfillment, don't live for yourself alone, live to give. Because the highest quality of life doesn't come from what you get, it comes from who you become and how many lives you touch along the way. And the moment you decide to consciously design your needs instead of being driven by them, you don't just change your life, you transform it.